Definitely a needed win for the Bulls today. I know this is kind of one of those easy win games against a depleted Blazers team that is without their superstar player, but with the Bulls and their team and how they have been playing defense recently, you never can be too sure if they'll actually walk away with a win. And to be honest, in the first quarter, even though the Bulls still made it competitive, you weren't quite sure how this game was going to go because the biggest struggle the Bulls have had ever since losing Lonzo and Caruso is their perimeter defense and how easy they have allowed their opponents to shoot from three. Like you saw it the other night when the Bulls allowed one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the league in the San Antonio Spurs to have them get 16 threes in that game alone. And then in the first quarter, the Blazers were hitting everything that they were throwing up from deep. I believe they were 7 for 8 in the first quarter from behind the arc, which again, the Blazers are not a good three-point shooting team. But then you finally saw Billy Donovan make some necessary adjustments on defense, and of course the Blazers also just cooled off, especially in the second half. They ultimately finished 13 for 30 from three. Still not great, but better than what we saw in the first quarter. But look, despite this being a game where really the Bulls had no excuse not to win, there were a lot of good things to see from this game, and first and foremost, the key was the ball and player movement. I've talked about it ad nauseum all season long, and I mentioned it in the last game against the Spurs. This team is just so efficient and successful when they're moving the ball around and not playing isolation basketball. The Bulls finished the game with 36 assists, which yet again, the Bulls have only lost one game all season when they put up 30 or more assists. The bulk of the assists coming from Dosunmu and DeMar DeRozan. Coby actually was great on the passing side as well. And then the other key was the fact that the Bulls finally had a good night shooting from outside. Really, the last 4 or 5 games, the Bulls have been awful shooting from three, shooting below 30%. But tonight, the Bulls finished the game shooting 13 for 32, 41%, and the Bulls were very efficient from the field overall at 56%. And then the other key to this game was that the Bulls defense wasn't absolutely atrocious. It still wasn't good, but they were much better at picking up assignments on help defense, reading screens, and actually playing aggressively on defense. Not saying again that it was great defense, but better than what we have been seeing lately. The Bulls also did a great job at taking care of the ball, only turning it over 7 times in this game. Now, there were a lot of great things we saw from certain players tonight, more specifically from some guys that we don't call out as often in Javonte Green and Tony Bradley. Now, Javonte, he did have to exit with an injury, which you really have to hope he's going to be okay, because if the Bulls lose another one of their key defenders and energizers to this team, the Bulls are going to be in bad shape, even more so on the defensive end. But in just the 24 minutes that Green played, he was literally doing everything on the court. He put in 16 points, which was a season high for him. He was 6 for 9 from the floor, even hit down a couple of threes, another element to his game that he's improved this season. He was plus 15 when he was on the floor. The hustle plays, all of those intangibles that you just don't see get noticed enough, especially in the stat sheet, which is why he is truly one of the Bulls' most underrated players this season. And then how about Tony Bradley? Comes in and gives you 16 minutes off the bench, hustled, using his strength to crash the offensive boards, to give the Bulls second chance opportunities, was doing work on defense. He had 3 steals today, 5 for 7 from the floor, 10 points in total to go along with 6 rebounds. Again, we need a guy like Tony Bradley to come in and give us strong minutes off the bench when the Bulls are limited with their size. I've been saying that for a while this season. The Bulls' big 3 tonight, they were great. Did everything that you want to see from your best 3 players. DeRozan, yet again, another incredibly efficient night, putting up 23 points, shooting 9 for 13. And what was great about DeRozan tonight was the fact that he recognized how the Blazers were playing against him and doubling him up on most plays. And as a result, DeRozan, being a great passer and a high IQ player, used that to his advantage and was a great facilitator tonight in the half court and finding the open man. He had 10 assists to go along with his 23 points. He also only had 1 turnover. Vucevic tonight was solid. He did great against Nurkic, which Vucevic has historically always done well against Nurkic. I called that out in my weekly preview video, and what I like seeing from Vucevic more recently is that he's not just relying on his outside shooting, because quite frankly, it hasn't been falling down for him, and he's going more inside and being aggressive in doing so, going up hard for rebounds, posting up guys, and using his size to get easy buckets rather than being passive like he had been, at least at the beginning of the season anyway. He goes for 24 points, which was a team high, on 11 for 15 shooting. He also snagged 14 boards and 3 assists. And then Lavine, I like what I saw from him tonight, in that his shot selection was much better than what it has been recently. in the last few games anyway. It just seems like he's been forcing shots a bit too much, but today he was calculated in his shots and drives to the basket, shooting 7 for 18 from the floor, 3 for 9 from 3. He also passed Scottie Pippen for third on the Bulls' all-time three-point scoring list, just right behind Ben Gordon and Kirk Heinrich. And then how about our rookie Dosunmu? Again, hasn't been scoring as much, but we also know that isn't necessarily a part of Ayo's game in being a primary scorer. He is a pass-first player and defender more than anything, and tonight he put up a career high in assists with 11. You can see just how much his court vision has improved in just his limited time being in the NBA, and even his defense seems to be improving with every passing game, although it doesn't show up as much in the stat sheet because you don't see things like the number of deflections that he has, how his help defense creates turnovers for the opposing team, and just his ability to pester his man that leads to missed shot attempts. Ayo had 7 points, 6 rebounds, and 11 assists to go along with 2 steals in 34 minutes of play. I feel like I say it on almost every post-game video at this point, but I love what I am seeing from this rookie and cannot wait to see how this kid's career progresses as we move forward. He's been a huge help for the Bulls without Lonzo and Caruso in the backcourt. And then we also saw another solid game from Coby White. That's back-to-back strong games from Coby on offense. He puts in another 18 points like he did against the Spurs, shooting 5 for 12, 3 for 7 from 3, and was 5 for 5 from the line. He was also a big contributor in running the floor with 6 assists tonight. And then how about Matt Thomas? Came in that third quarter and scored 7 quick points. He finished with a total of 9 points, shooting 4 for 8 from the field. I mean, honestly, that's what we need to see from someone like Matt Thomas, to just give us some solid scoring in very limited minutes when the Bulls are shorthanded. Because once Caruso and Lonzo are back, he's going to be out of the rotation. So to have him step up with guys being out is exactly what this Bulls team needs. Anyway, a good bounce-back win for the Bulls after a very disappointing loss against the Spurs. Still a lot of work to do, especially on the defensive end. They really need to figure out how to better defend the perimeters for these next few weeks while they wait for Caruso and Lonzo to return. Otherwise, the Bulls might see a pretty big drop in the standings until they get fully healthy. But let me know what you guys thought about this game. Let me know in the comments. I'll be out with my weekly preview video tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. Hope you guys enjoyed your weekend. Be sure to subscribe if you're a Bulls fan, as I do post daily Bulls content. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and I will catch you in the next one.